I'm always going to protect my legally speaking club community first. And Web3 gives me the opportunity to own the audience and our economy and keep everyone safe. That's why we're strategically creating our community in Web3 through the creator coin. It creates the most ownership and opportunity for us in the long term. And then there's the other benefit, creating opportunities. They're just endless as your community grows and grows. And the final point with this, when I go to talk about my journey, is you do not want to be left behind.
Hi, I'm Tessa Manuelo, founder of Lego Creatives, the school for the transformation of Lego services. And you're listening to the Lego Creatives podcast, where we'll be bringing you the greatest and the most inspirational concepts and projects and discuss some of the most powerful ideas for the transformation of the Lego industry. Hi, and welcome to a really special episode of the Lego Creatives podcast in the metaverse. Today, we are with a special guest who's on a mission to build a kind, collaborative, and happy Lego community. He's the founder of the Legally Speaking Club with the first social token that rewards the Lego community. He's also a LinkedIn audio town hall host, news contributor, beta product tester, and creator accelerator program cohort for 2022. He's the top 1% ranked podcast host with his Legally Speaking podcast and truly an inspiring leader. And today he's with us on the occasion of the Web3 Lego Design Hackathon, co-organized by Lego Creatives and Ground, in order to explore the future of regulations in Web3 and the metaverse. Thanks so much for being with us today, Robert. The mic is yours.
Thank you so much for such a super kind introduction, Tessa. I'm gonna jump straight into it. Did you know that Citigroup reported that the metaverse could be a $10 trillion opportunity by 2030? Did you also know, according to Dove Metrics, that over 450 startups in the Web3 industry have already raised over 4.5 billion since this Web3 craze kicked off? Here's another one for you. 27.5 billion. According to Grayscale, that's the estimated combined market cap for some of the biggest Web3 crypto and metaverse networks. Let's move away from money. Did you know that according to the national research, that 81% of consumers who've heard about Web3 think that it'll improve their happiness and well-being? And finally, over 200,000. That's the number of monthly Google searches for the word Web3 following a recent Google Trends report. This, folks, is why I'm getting very excited. We're super early, folks. And as Tessa mentioned, I'm going to be talking a little bit about my thoughts and a little background and context around Web3, my Web3 journey, our legal coin, which is a world's first when it comes to legal community building, and ways lawyers can think about using the metaverse and NFTs to stand out. Because if nothing changes, folks, nothing changes. We're in a fierce world of competition, and everything we have to do is to try and stand out and stay above the rest. So simply showing up here today, myself, yourselves, you're standing out. But I also wish to go to where the puck is going, not where it has been. We've all heard that famous Wayne Gretzky quote time and time again. But what do I actually mean by that? Well, ask yourself this. Do you want to continue to swim in the red ocean, overdeveloped, saturated, well-known technologies, i.e. Web2 and Web2 communities? Or are you prepared to swim in the blue ocean, less uncontested, growing markets, opportunities, Web3 communities? Well, probably no surprise, I'm a big fan of a blue ocean opportunity. And I'm a big believer in if you don't risk anything, you risk everything. So let me tell you a bit about my Web3 journey. But first, my versions of what Web3 is, because I still believe we all have our own versions. Web 1, simply read. Web 2, read and write, and the introduction of social media. Web 3, simplest form to me, is just the next generation of the internet, one that is based around decentralization rather than centralization. and the World Wide Web as we know it, a platform that is owned and controlled by a select few corporations. So these corporations have an unprecedented amount of power and control and see what we do online. But with Web3 and why I'm excited, it all changes. Rather than being controlled by centralized entities, Web3 is powered by the blockchain. We all know what that is. And additionally, there's decentralized ownership structures to allow us to be more resistant to censorship and other forms of control, because there's no single failure that can be exploited. So here are 3 reasons why Web3 community building is better than Web2 and why I'm passionate about this for my legal community. So we have structured world of blockchain and the notion of community, and we might not think that they go hand in hand, but actually they're actually pretty well connected to one another when it comes to Web3. Why? Because, as I mentioned, Web3 revolves around this greater concept of decentralization, supporting systems with no single party that has the control. So it relies on a shared user consensus and agreement in order to function. It's giving power back to the people so they control their data, their creations, their money, and more. So this is where community comes in and why I brand myself as a legal community builder. Because a community, if we think about it, is a group of individuals with a shared interest or goal. When it comes to Web3, community is really the heart of this whole movement, because the key to making decentralization work is having a community that agrees with the core principles and missions and comes together to support it.
Time for a quick break, but we'll be right back. If you enjoy this podcast, visit legalcreatives.com/now and be part of the world's greatest legal design innovation platform. Get access and be coached on the most innovative methods, mindsets and techniques, and be part of a community of 10,000 plus legal professionals who come together across the world to transform their legal services and documents, to create the most fulfilling legal practice, and experience the most epic learning journey of their lifetime. All part of Legal Creatives membership. A community and a platform that is essential to any legal professional who want to transform their practice, build better brands and win new customers, creating the legal services of the future, today. Go to legalcreatives.com/now to get started. Or if you're already on this journey, visit your platform to keep growing.
Hence why I was very clear in my introduction in terms of my mission. With Web3, it's less about monopolies, users, and more about people coming together as a community to make decisions to shift instead of a few people making decisions for the masses. So one part of Web3 community building, and is part of my journey, which we're in the process of moving towards, is the concept of a DAO. Many of you will know what a DAO is, a decentralized autonomous organization, which is community-led entity, with obviously no central authority. But 3 reasons why, again, the Web3 is better than Web2. Web3 is an evolution of Web2. So it's a lot more greatness created in Web2. So I think most of us that can agree there's too little people hold far too much data and control. And it's time to have an evolving focus on ownership, security, and community. So point number 1, why I'm interested and why I'm delving into this, is mutual ownership in community-driven project. So the creator advocacy I see in Web3 is unprecedented compared to Web2. Web2, we have influencers, we have paid sponsorships, we have millions of followers to stand out. Web3 is more about actually finding your tribe. It's about people respecting what another person is doing mutually and serving each other. This is a breath of fresh air, in my opinion, when it comes to Web3 technologies. So that's whether it's NFTs, DAOs, mutual ownerships, you name it. The mutual ownership part leads to increased buy-in from users, developers, other key stakeholders, and more. So ultimately, what is created is something that consumer not only wants, but is helping create. In our Web2 world, companies tend to focus more on the bottom line and less on what the consumer actually really needs. Rarely are corporations listening or evolving based on consumer, what they're asking for. And that's the opposite in Web3. For example, I launched Legal Coin, the legal creator coin, and a Discord community for our Legally Speaking podcast, which I am going to touch on a little bit more, but I think it's important to give context around all of this and my thoughts as it goes. So I did this so our community could have a stake, ownership on everything that we're creating, because our success from financial to brand advocacy, is contingent on our coin and our holders and community. So as we grow coin holders, holdings, the economy grow, which creates not only financial rewards to the Legally Speaking Club supporters, but also business and professional opportunities and lots more. So the second benefit, ownership of your audience. Rather than being controlled by a single entity, Web3 projects are typically owned or operated by the creator and the community that supports them. So let's use a live example. Right now, I am the most followed legal recruiter on LinkedIn. I've got around over 35,000 followers on LinkedIn alone. That's great. I've worked very hard to capture that audience. But let's say if LinkedIn were to go away, so do my fans. I don't control any of the data. I don't control what LinkedIn does. While I believe they have the best intentions, it's still a massive corporation that reports to Wall Street. So remember that day when Facebook, Instagram went down for 6 hours? Or what about Instagram shutting down in Russia or major influencers losing millions of followers? Everyone freaked out, and then they didn't have their own opportunity to be working with their own audience. That's just real life. As such, I wanted to trust the big corporations. I'm always going to protect my Legally Speaking Club community first, and Web3 gives me the opportunity to own the audience and our economy and keep everyone safe. That's why we're strategically creating our community in Web3 through the creator coin. It creates the most ownership and opportunity for us in the long term. And then there's the other benefit, creating opportunities. They're just endless as your community grows and grows. And the final point with this, when I go to talk about my journey, is you do not want to be left behind. I'm not saying we should all jump into Web3 100% right now. The market is volatile. There are going to be ups and downs, but you certainly do not want to be one of the individuals left behind, because what you're seeing now is going to be the norm.
If you like the Legal Creatives podcast, take the next step. Become a Legal Creatives member. Imagine being coached on the most innovative methods, mindsets and techniques that successfully and effectively transform legal services into experiences clients love, recommend, and use again and again. When you access the platform, you don't just access courses, but create a career where you feel more fulfilled, more productive, and become more profitable. You also become part of a community of legal professionals who are the most supportive, incredibly dedicated individuals to transforming legal services. Get access today to a community and a platform that is essential to any legal professional who want to transform their practice, build better brands and win new customers, creating the legal services of the future today. Go to legalcreatives.com/now to get started, or if you're already in this journey, visit your platform to keep growing.